Hello everybody, this is Kenneth Marks of The Ancestor Hunt. Today I'm going to be sharing with you the Pennsylvania Civil War era newspaper collection. This is a collection of over 60 newspapers from Pennsylvania from the 1840s through the very early 1870s, covering the Civil War era. As I said, there are 60 newspapers available to you for free for you to search, so let's get started and show you how it operates. This is a URL at the top, digitalnewspapers.libraries.psu.edu. That should suffice, and there are other parts of the URL, of course. And it is available to you from Penn State University. And here's a list of the newspapers, starting with the Altoona Tribune from 1858 through 1865. And you can scan through this list, and it shows you what is available, and if there are any gaps, what are missing. As I said, there are about 60 of them, so you should have a good chance, hopefully. If you have ancestors from Pennsylvania around Civil War time, hopefully you will be successful in finding them. So let's go to our advanced search over here on the left. Point out the features of it first. It does have Boolean and, or, and also not features. You also have the ability to search for words that are near to each other, say 4 or 5 words apart or whatever. Over here on the right, you have the ability to use wildcards. I did mention the logical operators. You have word modifiers such as soundex, thesaurus, fuzzy, etc. So you do have a wide variety to use in your search in order to find the results that you desire. You can search for all clippings or articles, newspapers, and advertisements. You can search for one or several of the publications, or you can search all of them. In this case, we will search all of them. You have the ability to search a date range if you would so choose, and your results can be sorted by score, title, word count, dates, etc. We will leave it at a relevance score. So let's type in the first search term, and we're going to be searching for John Buford. I will point out while it is doing the search that I have done this search and used this site in both Google Chrome and Internet Explorer. In both instances, there are some anomalies in how they function. I'm using Google Chrome right now. I will point out one of them, but just be aware that if you use one of those two browsers, that there may be some features that are not available in dealing with the images. The searches themselves are the same and are complete, but the dealing with images portion of your operation is a little different from Internet Explorer and Google Chrome. I have not tested it with other browsers and can't vouch for whether Firefox or others work better or worse than the two that I mentioned. So here we have the results for our search for John Buford. You can save a query if you like for going back later and not having to type in the exact same query. Over here on the right, it shows you the results. There are 3 pages of them. You can bring up an article, a page, or you can save it to your collection. One of the advantages of saving it to collection is you can save the searches and deal with the images later if you so choose. And that can be quite useful. So let's go to our first result and see what comes up. You see this little window right here. It's going to bring up the article, hopefully. I have noticed that sometimes this site is quite speedy and sometimes it is not. So let's be patient for a moment. If it does not bring it up, we will try it again. There we go. So here is the article. It discusses the death of General Buford. It also, as you can see, highlights the search terms here in purple and yellow, the terms John and Buford. Now, if I wanted to save that article, I could right click on it and do a save image as, and let's do that right now. I'll save it to my desktop. Obviously I would change the file name, but I want to show you what happens when I do this. It's saving it now. Let's bring it up and see what it looks like. As you can see, it has not included the entire article, so that is certainly not a function that we want to use. We want to save the entire article. Now, also, my personal preference, I do not like to save them with the purple and yellow in it. So I would not, for example, use my snipping tool to save this article, unless this was my only option, because I would be saving the highlighted termed purple and yellow in the article itself, and I don't prefer to do that. So let's find out a way that we can do this without saving the highlights. What you can do is there's two ways I will show you. You can pretend to print it, and as you can see, it brings up here, it does have the John Buford underlined, so I could save that. What I could do is I could go to my snipping tool now, and you also notice that I can also save the source citation up here at the top, which is very useful to do, obviously, because then you don't have to go back later and find it again and write it in your database. So I could save the article now. From my snipping tool, I do a save as. Obviously, I would change the name from Capture. It does save it as a JPEG, and I could save it from there. The other option to save the article is, let's go back, let's close this tab out. I can go to, and I can save this to my collection. Okay, so I've added it to my collection. It says OK. Now I can go to my collection and bring up the article again, and guess what? It brings it up without the highlights. So now, when I use my snipping tool, I will have the entire article saved without the highlights, and I can save it to my desktop, use it in a blog post, or whatever I choose to do. So that is how you save the article, the complete article, without doing the right-click Save Image As, and also without having to save the highlighted terms. So let's click out of that, and let's go back. And these are our results. So let's just refresh real quickly that when you do bring up the article, it is going to bring up the highlighted terms. If you do the right click Save Image As I said earlier, you're going to get a choppy version of the article, no matter how big it is. So that's not a good solution. You can print it, and it does have the entire article, but with small purple highlights, which may not be your preference. And then last but not least, you can go to you can save it to your collection, bring it up later, and now you've got the entire article without the highlights. So that is how you work around some of the anomalies. Let's go back, and I want to show you one more thing. You can bring up the entire page, and when it does, it brings up the article highlighted. So if you click on the article, it will also bring up the entire article without the highlights, and again, you would use your snipping tool. Do not right click Save Image As. The other solution is you could right click up here outside of the page itself and do a Save Image As, and you can save the entire page that way if you so choose. Or you could right click and open the image in a new tab, and the entire page is there. But as you can see, it's pretty hard to see, so even if you were to zoom a bit with Control Plus, as you can see, it destroys the resolution, and it's certainly not something that you would want to save. So let's click out of there. But like I said, you've got plenty of options in the Internet Explorer version. These sections, page, and features functions do work. So you have some ability there to do some additional downloads with Internet Explorer. In Chrome, for some reason, it does not work. So let's go back to our home page, and that is it, my friends. This is a nice collection. It has a lot of possibilities for you to find articles for your Civil War ancestors. But as I said, there are some distinct anomalies with saving images, and you're going to have to work with it a bit to get comfortable with it, and you will be able to get the articles that you wish, I hope, and save them in a format that you also desire. And I wish you good luck with finding your Civil War ancestors in Pennsylvania, and happy hunting.